and how to get data into our lake house using the pipeline as well. So we'll be looking at how we can get data into our lake house by using the file part of the lake house. So the first thing that I would do is that from your file part, can you see this file part? So this is the file part and this is the table part of the lakehouse. So the file part is where you can load both structured and unstructured data, and that is why the lakehouse is a combination of both the data warehouse and the lakehouse. Sorry, the warehouse and the data lake. Yeah. So the data lake is where you have the unstructured file like recording, images, videos, and all. So you can upload it in your file section. Okay, so now let's upload some of these our files inside our file section. Then from there we'll load it into the table section. So the first thing that I will do here is that I'm going to create a new subfolder. So let's call it our www.hi or let's say data. Let us say www. That is a worldwide import data. So let us create a subfolder. So so inside this subfolder, I'm going to we are going to upload our data now. So I'll click on upload, then upload files. You can also upload the folder as well. So I'll click here, then this will take me to my local file. So I'm going to upload. So I will upload all this at the same time. So can you see all these data? I will upload them. Then I'll click on if you have the files in as that if the file is already existing before, maybe you just want to overwrite it or you want to upload, maybe there is an update, you can overwrite it. So let's just upload since we don't have the files here before. So let's upload it. So now, okay, so we can close this tab. Can close this tab. So you can see the file section now. So this is our file section. We can see now the file that we upload. So the file that we upload, they are CSV. So, and for you to be able to load data into the table format, into the table section of the layout, it must be in a CSV. If the file is not in CSV, maybe it's not in CSV before, you have to format it to a CSV. So probably you can use a notebook, or definitely you have to use a notebook to format it, or probably you convert it through another means. So once you are done, you can now load this into your table section. So let's try and load this files into our table section now. So um, so let me click here. So from here, you can see these three ellipses here. You can see load to our table. So we are going to be loading a new table. So I'll click on new table. www categories. Okay, this is fine. Let me just adjust this. Maybe put this one in capital letter. So to maintain the same name. Separator, since we are using a comma CSV file, that's fine. So let's load the categories. So we are loading the category. So the next one we are going to be loading is our date. Um, so load our dates. Okay, so this is still loading. So we cannot load multiple tables at the same time. So but if your network is fast, this one might take a shorter time for yours to load. Okay, so this is successful already. Okay, so let's load this one now. So new table. So let's just maintain the same name. Let's call it. So let's load this as well. So we are loading this one as well. Load it. Okay. So the last one is the shaper. The shapers. Okay, so this is still loading. Okay, so let's load this one as well. So we load this into our table. take this one as shipper just for minute sake to verify. Then we'll load it. Okay. Okay, so now we have our account, we have all our tables in the table section now. Can you see in the table section? So we can always preview it, so we can preview the data. Even on the table section we can preview it. So this is how we can load data from the file section into the table section of the lakehouse. So the last, you know, ways of ingesting data that we'll be looking at is the data flow gen 2. So for those of us that are familiar with Power Query before, data flow gen 2 should not be a problem. And let's see how we can use the data flow gen 2 to ingest our data. I'll click on the get data, then I'll click on new data flow gen 2. I'll click on the new data flow gen 2. This is loading. So it's going to open another wizard page for us. Okay, so it's loading, it's loading, it's loading. Okay, it's loading. Let's just, like I said, the reason why this might take time is mostly the network. So, like I said, this is the data flow gen 2. In Power BI, in Excel, it's called Power Query. But on the, in your Lakehouse, in your Fabric environment, it's called data flow gen 2. But it's the same thing as what you have in your Power Query. So now we are going to be loading our data. We are going to be using the import from a text CSV because our files is a text CSV, and we have the files in our OneDrive. So let's go to my OneDrive. So I have the data in my on my OneDrive. So we'll be picking the data from OneDrive. Yes, we'll be picking data from OneDrive. Not this OneDrive. So we'll be picking the data from our OneDrive. Okay, so I will just go to import CSV file, then I'll click on, um, you can say link to file or upload the file. You can actually upload if you have it, and if you want to go to through the link, you can also go through the link. So let's see. Let me see if I can go through the link. I'm trying to see how I can go through the link. So let's go to my OneDrive. I'll go to my OneDrive and let's see if I can get the link. So I have the worldwide importer here. So we want to import our, customers and products. So I will click here, then I'll go to details, then I'll come here to, oh, is an Excel file. Okay, so I'll click on this part, the Excel file. So that means that I have to change my connection. So let me go back. I have to change my connection. So I have to use Excel workbook. So I'll paste the link here, then browse OneDrive. This should be okay. So because it is the file is on OneDrive, we don't need gateway. So let's click on next. So click on next to connect to the data source. It's connecting. Okay, our data is connecting. Invalid credential. Why is it saying valid credential? Um, why? Should, okay. Let's use organization account. Yeah, let's use organization account. So let's see, maybe this will work. So I'm going to use organization account, then I will use next lesson how that will work. So because of the authentication that we are using, I think I was a pick anonymous before. So we need to choose the right authentication. So you can see now that it's working. So you can preview the file. So you can see this is our file. Then I'm going to click on create. I'm going to click on create. So you can see. So we can rename the name of the file. So you can see just like the way we have it in Power Query. So you can also, so let's just rename, this is the customer table. So I'll just call it customer table, customer. Okay, so you can see we can do some little transformation, use first rule as headers. So let's just click on use first rules as headers. Yes. So we're going to use first rules as header. So we won't really be doing much transformation anyway because the purpose of this class is not so, but if you want to do transformation, you can do transformation. But the purpose of this section is not for data cleaning. It's just to show us how to get data into our lakehouse. So once you are done, you can see that the data destination is lakehouse already. If you want to change your destination, you can actually change your destination, but we are already publishing it into the lakehouse. So so now let's just get data, our other file, which is our um so let's get our other files, which is our product files. Our product file is a CSV file as well. I'll go to details. So I'll go to details, then I'll come to the parts, I'll click on the parts, then I'll go back to my um, fabric, then I'll paste the link. My authentication should be organization account. So then you choose your organization account, you can see, then I'll click on next. So click on next. um, this will this will so this will get us into the lake house, into the data flow gen 2 again, where we can do our transformation before we load the data into the lake house. So let's click on create, so we can preview the data just like we did the other time. So this supposed to be the table, the product, yeah, this is the product table. Yeah, product. So let's rename this as what? As products. So I rename this as products. So you can see that by default, this one came in, it came in as what? As the headers already promoted. So we don't have to promote the headers yet. So if you want to do transformation, we can do transformation. But like I said, the purpose of this session is not to do data transformation, but you can also do everything that you can do in your Power Query also here as well. So I will come here and I will rename this. I will call it WWI. I'll call it, let's say, customer slash products. So that's the name of the data flow that we created. So let's just call it this so that you'll be able to know that this is the name. Okay, so now let's publish it. We are publishing into the lakehouse already. So we'll publish it to the lakehouse. So I'll click on publish. So once we publish this, we will see it in our lakehouse. We'll see it in our lakehouse. So we have published it already, and let's click on the lake house. So let's click on the lake house and let's refresh our lake house. So let's refresh our lake house. should have our data in the lake house. So let's refresh. Okay, the data is not here in the lake house, but um, okay, data flow one publish. Can you see data flow one publish? So it has been published, but it has not yet reflect in the lake house. Okay, so let me check from the demo workspace. So can you see data flow one has been okay, still loading. So you can see it's still loading, still loading, still loading, still loading, still loading. So let's just give it some time to finish loading. I thought the name should have even changed to what I rename it as. So, but let's just give it some some minutes. Okay, it has published. So now let's go back to our lake house and check. So let's go back to our lake house and check. Let's refresh this. Let's refresh this lake house. Okay, so can you see customer and product? Can you see customer and product? We can see that we have the tables here now. So you can see that we have loaded our data, ingest data into the lakehouse using different method, right? We use the shortcut, the pipeline, even uploading the file through the through the lakehouse. So the next thing that we're going to be looking at now is to create a model. How do we create our models in Fabric? How do you create model? Because what we are doing is end to end. Everything we are going to be using, we are using Fabric to do that. So to create your model, you can also do some kind of query. Maybe you want to query your data. So what you will do is that you go to the right hand side. You are going to switch experience. So you are going to switch to the SQL analytics endpoint. So this is where you can now write your SQL, write your SQL. You can also create measures and also create your data model, just like the way we have it in Power BI. So we will now go to our model tab. So basically what we want to do is to create models. We are not writing queries. Maybe in another series we'll talk about creating writing queries and all. So the purpose of this is just to show us how to ingest data, create models, and create some little measures and visualization with Microsoft Fabric. So I'm going to click on the default semantic model. So what I will do is that I'm going to go to my tables. You can see this table here. So I will click here, then I'm going to add to default semantic model. I'll add to default semantic model. So I'm going to add each of my table to the default semantic model. So it's taking time. Okay. It's taking time. Okay, so that's network. So I don't know whether this has been added. Okay, I think this is already here. So let's add the product as well. Add to semantic model. So I think it's network that is making me not to show yet. Okay, so I will also add to semantic model. I'm going to add all my tables to the semantic model. Okay, so let's add the date as well. Add dates. So let's add date. Then let's add our fact table. Then the next one is our order table. So let's add our order table. Let's add our order table. Then the next one is our shipper table. So let's add our shipper table. Okay, so this we have added all this to our data model. Yes, it might have not reflected here, but let's see what is happening. Probably we are going to refresh this page so that we can see what we added. So let's just refresh. So let's refresh. Do we have this? Okay, so can you see? So you can see that when we refresh it, you can see all our. You can see that we have all our data in our semantic model. So now the next thing for us now is to start creating our relationship. So, but one thing about this data is that it's because I have understanding of it, so I know how to create relationship. So at least the expectation is that before you can do something like this, you must have like a preliminary knowledge of creating models and how to create models and measures in Power BI before, or you understand, before you can do this project. But in subsequent videos, I'm going to do like a breakdown, you know, of all these things to us. So let's see how we can create our model. Let's see how we can create our model. So let's see how we can create our model. So now um, we have relationship between our customer table and our our order table. So these tables are like our fact table. We have some fact tables. So these two tables are like fact tables. The order details and the fact order, they are like fact tables. Then we have the category that connecting to the product table. So we have that. So let's create a relationship. So how do you create a relationship? So you can do drag and drop, just like we do it in Power BI. So we do drag and drop. So this will bring a new wizard. So you can see customer ID, you can see. So it's telling you the cardinality. Now this cardinality is not correct. So I'm going to change the cardinality. So I'll change it to one to many because I know that my dimension, my customer table is one, it is unique, and my fact table is it is not unique. That's duplicate record. So I'll click on save. So I'll click on save. So this will create relationship between my customer table and my fact table. Can you see? So the next one I will do is that I'm going to create relationship between the date and the fact order as well. So we have the order date here. So I'll create relationship between them like this. Let's see, is this correct? This is not also correct. So I'm going to change the cardinality. Let's save. I'll change. Okay, so I've changed the cardinality. The cross-filter direction should be on one. That is fine. So the next one is the shipper. So we have the shipper dimension. So this one we have ship via. So it's the same thing as the shipper ID. Yeah, it's the same thing as the shipper ID. So it's the same thing as the shipper ID. So let's see. Okay, this is also not correct. So let's correct it. It is one to many. Yeah. So let's save this as well. Okay. So, um, okay. So we have created this relationship. The next relationship we are creating is between our product and because this relationship is not a star schema. So we are going to create relationship between the category and our product table. So create relationship between these two. It should be one to many, one to okay. I think this is correct. Yes. Okay, this is correct. Yes. Yeah. So it is from the category is on one side while the product is the many side. Yes. Okay. So then we create relationship between the product and our order table. Between the product and our order table. Create relationship between these two as well. So this is many to one and this is correct. Okay. Okay, so this is correct. Then the last relationship is going to be between the fact order and the order table. So that will be the last relationship. We'll create. So we take it from here to this one. And our fact table is one side, while the other table is the many side of it. Okay. So um you can you can see that we have create you can see how we're able to create relationship in our Power BI, in our Microsoft Fabric environment, because I'm used to Power BI. So you can see how we have created relationship, and also we can also create what? We can also create measures. So let's see how we can create, how we can create measures in Microsoft Fabric environment. So let's say that we want to create measures. You can see, and if you want to do some editing, you can go to your properties pane and do some of your editing here as well. So let's assume that we want to create one or two measures. So to create measures, so I'm going to click on the other table, right? So, and I will click on, you can click on this ellipse here. You can click on new measure. So now I want to create a measure to calculate our total order and total sales. So let's create a measure to calculate total order. So let's say total orders. So let's create a measure to calculate total order. So I will say count. I will say count rows. So we want to create a measure that count rows. Then we are going to count our fat orders table. We count our fat orders table. So this is going to give us a calculation of total orders. So the next one is to do what? Is to do total sales. We want to calculate our total sales. So I will go to my order details table. I'll click on new measures. So this time I want to calculate my total sales. And how do you calculate total sales? Total sales is definitely multiplying. We want to multiply you know, our selling price multiplied by quantity. So we say sum x. So we say sum x, our sales price, that is our order table. So we want to get the details from the other details table. Then we are going to say what? Sales amount. Then we will multiply it by what? By the related quantity in our other details. So we will multiply it by the related quantity in our other details. So we have quantity. Okay, sorry. I think we are not using related here. So that is multiplied by quantity. Okay, we this is how we get our total sales. Now let's do one more or two calculation. So let's calculate total product sold. Total. So let's calculate total product sold. We want to know the total number of products sold. Total total quantity sold rather. Total quantity sold. So to calculate total quantity sold, we say sum of what? Our quantity. So sum quantity from the other details. So calculate that. So let's do one more calculation, which is our average sales order. So let's do one more calculation. Average sales order. Average sales order. So you can see that the calculation is very the method is very similar to what we have in Power BI. So this one I'm going to use the divide option, function. So I will divide my what? Total sales. Can you see? Total sales. Then I will divide it by my total order. By my total orders. So you can see. Um, sorry, I want to make sure that let me just say total orders. So can you see? So now we have created our measures. So these are you know the ways where how you can create measures. So we're going to stop here. Then we'll look at how we can also create visualization, in Microsoft Fabric environment. in our next